get caught up in the confusion. You could come in. There's still seats. No, Mary Sue, I was talking to Robert, yeah. There's 2 Mary Sues here today, so be careful. I'm not even going to go into why that's so. So in my tradition, the response to the challenge of what chord we are striking as we enter into our world is called Shabbat. It's called the Sabbath. And Shabbat is more than a time in the calendar or in the week. Shabbat is an energy of wholeness, an energy of blessing, an energy of yesness, an energy which releases resistance, an energy which just threatens the ego with a reality that the ego just doesn't get at all. Because the ego keeps thinking, unless I fight it, unless I resist it, it'll just continue and it'll keep getting worse. And the spiritual consciousness keeps saying, man, that's how you keep making it worse. So it's not that there isn't work to do, it's just that it's necessary before we keep working the way we've been working to take a deep breath and go, yes. What is, whether we want it to be or not. This is what we got to deal with right now. And we, each and every one of us, are what we got to deal with right now. And all the realities that are going on inside our head, and all the realities that are going inside our hearts, and all the realities that are going inside our bodies. Everything we're seeing, all the sensory data, everything we're hearing, everything we're feeling, everything we're smelling, everything we're tasting. All this is yearning for a Shabbat moment. Just a Shabbat moment of, okay. It's just this remarkable image of God taking a big breath and just sighing and going, okay, it's done. Whatever is done. And I'm going to allow it to be done exactly as it is. So that's Ma Yafeh Hayom. And the words you will notice are on the screen. Is that true? There's a Lutheran sanctuary in Kirkland that I speak at sometimes, and they have the kindness of having a replica of the thing that's behind the speaker in front of the speaker. So whoever has the ear of the authorities in this place actually, there's way more important things that need to be done than that. But I invite you to stand as you are able. And just in standing say, here I am. You know,
Maya Fehayo Shabbat Shalom Maya Fehayo Shabbat Shalom Shabbat Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. How beautiful the day, Shabbat Shalom. How beautiful the day, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom.
And those of you who are standing, if you could just appreciate that in a minute you're going to get to sit down. No, really. And just allow the awareness that the world is going to support you. You know, it's like you can sit down and kind of be assured that the chair is going to be sturdy, the floor is going to, I mean, it's just so much of the time we're really not sure. But just get that in a Shabbat moment, man, it is really safe to sit down. Try it. How was that? No, we take it all for granted, but my God, a chair. I mean, who invented a chair? Hey, how many millennia were we just standing the whole time? Until somebody said, hey, you know what? So it seemed to me that there were some themes that I wanted to address in November. I mean, it's still kind of early November for Thanksgiving, but this is the only spiritual Saturday that I get to do in November. So I thought, well, I'd like to focus on gratitude. And there are really two faces of gratitude that I'd like to talk about, and the first one is the easy one. Oh, if you were to start sentences with I'm grateful for, just in your head, I'm grateful for. Like, can you imagine a list? I guess I'd start mine by saying I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be able to share these energies with each and every one of you. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that each and every one of us is bringing the uniqueness of our being into this shared moment. I'm grateful that each and every one of us is supposed to be here. Which actually leads me to complete something I started a while ago and then got distracted. Nobody noticed. Remember, I asked if you saw the announcement of the Spiritual Saturday today, and then I don't know where I went, but what I thought I was doing was letting you know that this is not Tay Phoenix. It was announced that Tay Phoenix would be here, and she got ill, and I'm just so grateful for Steve Mason, who is really just such a support. And it's a joy because both in November and December, Stephen Merritt is going to be at the piano. I'm grateful for. Imagine starting sentences. I'm not going to ask you each to stand up and give a dozen of I'm grateful fors, but can you find them? Just I'm grateful for, I'm grateful that. There are spiritual teachers who say that keeping a gratitude journal can change our entire experience of life. Because so much of the time our mind automatically focuses on what we're not so grateful for. Yes. Did you have a question? An answer?
Input. Brené Brown has found in her research that gratitude is one of the things that differentiates the most successful and happy people through their lives, and it also increases dopamine.
Yeah. So, has anybody had their dopamine measured lately? You can tell? Okay, after this morning, Ann and Dave will read your dopamine levels for a slight charge. Is there a fee?
Nice.
Chocolate? Chocolate. Anybody else have some answers? So just imagine that what we're sitting here doing is raising our dopamine levels by just listing the things in our mind that we're grateful for. I'm grateful for a song called I'm Grateful For, and it's a Steve Mason song. No, that's not exactly the energy to start that song with.
No, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude.
Ah,
It didn't look like it, did it? Isn't it tough to tell when people, oh, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude? I am. It's got to be, my kids were 15 and 17, so about that many years ago, 15 or 17 years ago, they were going out the door and they were off to a soccer practice, and it was the first time that the oldest was driving the youngest to a soccer practice. And I don't know if it was denial or I wasn't aware of certain parts of that picture, but I was so grateful that Zach could drive Jake to soccer. And of course then, almost in an instant, I went, oh, and I should pray for safety too. But I was thinking about that. I was thinking about my sweetheart and thinking about God and all the things in our lives that we can sit down and go, wow, I'm so grateful for that. And I had never written a song about it. And I thought, I want a mantra for my gratitude. And so I sat down and fairly quickly wrote this, which is not usually the case with me writing songs. It's like strung out and all that. So this is called Thank You For. Thank you for your love and more, gifts untold, shelter from the cold. When I'm feeling sad or lonely, you let me know I'm not the only one who's ever been here. Thank you for for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Through all my noise, you've given me the choice. Though I complain sometimes about the cold rain, you pick me up so I can listen for a while to just the things that I've been missing in my life. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for. Well, as I explore each new corridor, I've been rich and poor, stumbled through my share of doors. When I'm feeling sad or lonely, you remind me of all the folks who've loved me in my life. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Oh, thank you for. Thank you for. You want to sing that? Thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
And he's going to be here in December too.
He's going to be there in December too.
Yeah.
Yep. You know we're going to do in December?
Hanukkah?
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 Hanukkah. Ch. Hanukkah is the holiday in the Jewish year that can be spelled in more ways than any other holiday, and that's its distinction. One N or two N's, an H or a CH, one K or two Ks, an H at the end or no H at the end. It's really remarkable. In Hebrew, it's only spelled one way, but to try to transliterate it gets, yeah. But let's get back to gratitude.
Oh.
Something else is happening this week. I mean, it's always a problem for me because before a program, I need to set some kind of title. And then as the moment comes, something else will pop up. And I just decided today that they were meant to be popping up together. You know that there's a section of the Torah, there's a section of the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible that is assigned to every week of the year. So one of the disciplines of the Jewish path is that every week we are reading a section of those 5 books. And every year we read through the whole of those 5 books. And one would think, well, we should actually know it by now. It's like, how many millennia have we been doing this? And one of the interesting things, of course, about any spiritual literature is that a spiritual literature is going to reflect the spiritual nature of the beings through whom that literature flowed. And we are those beings. I'm among those who actually doesn't believe that God talks. I think people listen. And that's why, depending on how we listen, God seems to talk in whatever language we happen to be listening in. You know, and then we get into all kinds of arguments, and we say, no, God actually speaks Hebrew. No, God speaks Arabic. And no, God speaks English after all. You know that story. It actually happened to my co-author for Judaism for Dummies' wife was teaching in a school a little bit south of the Seattle area, and they were bringing in more languages. And it happens that she had lived for a while in Japan and could teach Japanese. And there were people who were really upset. It's like, why do we need more languages? And somebody stood up and said, if English was good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for us. I love that. Of course. Why study any other language?
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. Just thinking about the nature of our consciousness alone is enough. So the particular portion of the Torah that is assigned to this week and would be read now in synagogues across the world is a passage called Lech Lecha, means get out. Get out. That's exactly an opposite thing to
No,
say.
yeah.
To be, wow. It is so fascinating because the way the Torah reports, the whole idea, incidentally, of reading the Torah piece again and again and again is what else is in there that I haven't seen yet. And I don't know how your life is, but I keep seeing things I didn't see. A lot of times those are things in myself that I didn't see, and sometimes when I see them, it's really disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea is if I read a passage in the Torah and only see what I've already seen, then I know that I'm stuck. Because there's got to be more. There's got to be more levels because of the beings through whom that came. Okay, some of it is time, place. I get that. But you know the levels. There's a literal level. This is what the story says. Then there's like a allegorical level that is talking about like it's something that happens to many people at many different times, like a legend level, and then there's a deeper level, a metaphorical level, where actually it's happening to us, or all the characters in the story are in us, and that's a whole other deal. So Lech Lecha is this remarkable passage that just starts with God said to Avram. You know who Avram is? In English called Abram. Nobody calls him Abram. Everybody calls him Abraham, even though his name is not going to be changed to Abraham for several chapters. But we call it Abraham anyways, because we've read ahead and we know. So I'm going to call him Abraham. God says to Abraham, Lech Lecha. God says to Abraham, get out. Lech Lecha me'artzecha, get out of your land, your country. Umi moladetcha, get out of the place of your birth. Umi beit avicha, and get out of your father's house, your parents' house. El ha'aretz asher areka. Get out of your land, get out of the place of your birth, get out of your parents' house to the place that I shall show you. In other words, you're actually not going to know where you're going till you leave. Oh, right. And in just typical Torah fashion, Abraham packs his bags, takes all the people, and they go. And you just think, what? I mean, like, how many times do we hear that? Do we hear, you know what, it's time to make some changes here. And we're stuck. And what we do when we awaken to that is, we immediately pack our bags and go. Thank you for that awareness. No, but just the idea. Did like Abraham really didn't even ask what? I mean, there's so much happening between the lines in a story like that. You got to be kidding. Like, here I am. I've got a place. I know what I'm doing here. This is the place of my family. This is the place of my heritage. I've been here. This is a place I know. I know how to get around. I know where the streets are. I know where the markets are. I even know where the coffee shops are. And you want me to go where? I mean, if you could tell me where exactly, I can see it on a map. I could put in my GPS. I could get an idea of what kind of trip this is, but I should leave and not know where I'm going. Oh, thanks a lot. And it just seems to me that this is perfect for an energy of gratitude. Because this is the challenge to the ego that just goes, you got to be kidding. Because more than anything else, the ego wants predictability. More than anything else, the ego wants some kind of safety. The ego wants to know what's going on so that whoa. And what I see in that is the paradigm of every spiritual journey. Because a spiritual journey is really a radical opening. It's an opening beyond our conditioning. It's an opening beyond what we think in the moment about ourselves or about our environment. It's a radical opening beyond our current plans. Lech Lecha me'artzecha, get out of your land. Get out of what you think you know. Get out of the place of your birth. The place of your birth is really interesting because it's like question the nature of your incarnation. The place of our birth, incarnation. Incarnation, this amazing process. This is really remarkable. Take a universal consciousness and embody it in separate locations and separate times. Take a universal consciousness and embody it where no two faces are the same. Oh, wow. How unlikely. No two faces are the same, to remind us that where we stand in the world we have responsibility for is unique. Nobody else actually can do it for us. If I open my heart, if I open my mind, only I can do that. You actually can't do it for me. We would love to find somebody to do it for us. But it's actually not a very worthwhile pursuit. Umi beit avicha, and from the house of your parents. Whew. It's interesting order. From your country, from the land, from the whole idea of your incarnation, your limitation to this particular incarnation, to this particular form, this particular shape, this particular sensory data, and then from your parents' house, which must be, wow, it's harder to leave our parents' house than it is to leave our land. And you go, okay, if I leave my land, what is it I wind up taking with me? Well, I take with me various ideas about myself, and where do the ideas about myself come from? And I don't care whether they're from our literal parents or other adults, other teachers, who have labeled us. I mean, do you remember some of the labels that were given to you? Sometimes positive labels, sometimes not so positive labels, sometimes labels that you're proud of, sometimes labels you're not so proud of. But definitions of ourselves that we automatically wind up carrying. Lech Lecha. I mean, it's as if a universe says, if you want to enter into an expanded consciousness, which essentially is a spiritual journey. Spiritual journey is always moving from exclusive to inclusive. Exclusive is any definition, how we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to think, what we're supposed to do, who we're supposed to be, to an inclusivity that is opening. And how can you know it until you open? You can't do that. And it's not once and for all. I mean, in the Torah cycle, it's every year, but sometimes it happens twice a year. So it's not just a matter of time, because it's a matter of when have we gotten stuck? When have we forgotten? When have we reached that place where we think we're there? Oh, no, when I was growing up, it looked like becoming an adult. And as near as I could figure, people became an adult at 40 years of age. I knew that 40 was a dangerous time because the cards intimated that it was very old. And I don't think it doesn't work today quite the same way, but those of you who've been around a little longer remember what 40 used to be. And maybe you remember what adult used to be. Because, like, I remember my folks, God bless them, they were adults. Adults knew what they thought, they knew what they did, they knew what they didn't do, they knew what they liked, they knew what they didn't like. And I don't mean this by way of condemnation, I just mean this in terms of witnessing. And just thinking there's going to be a time when I'm going to be an adult. And I'm almost 40. The point being, I never got there. Like, where is this place? It's as if the universe keeps saying, Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha. The universe keeps saying, get on with it, get on with it. Like every time the definition sets in, every time we think we know, now we got our script. Got our script, I got it down, I know. Well, I mean, yes, we can do that. Or we can hear a calling to say, you know what? There's more. There's more. It's the essential nature of the mystic. The mystical consciousness is there's always more. There's always more. What is the more that's calling to me now? And then there is the wonder of the Hebrew language. Because Lech Lecha, which grammatically is adds strength to the Lech. Lech is a command, meaning go. Lech Lecha is an emphasis on that gets translated legitimately as get you out. But if you look at the words literally, Lech means go, and Lecha means to yourself. Lech Lecha. And it's like a whole, oh. This is even harder than I thought. I mean, listen, it's one thing to pack my bags. It's one thing to go, okay, yeah, we're moving from California to Seattle. Now I'm moving from doing a congregation to being head of Interfaith at Unity in Lynnwood. Oh yeah, I mean no. I mean, those are the externals, and I don't mean to demean the externals, but Lech Lecha is much deeper than that, because if it's a true spiritual journey, it's calling us to the greater aspects of our own consciousness and our own being. And we don't find those out there, we find those in here. So the call is, go to yourself from an identification with our land, from an identification with our particular incarnation, and from an identification with our particular, the way we were raised to learn what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad, what's proper and what's improper. I don't know how it was in your home, but at a certain point I realized that in my home we did it right. And when I would go over to friends' homes, I noticed they didn't do it right. I mean, I didn't think exactly like that, but at some point I realized we do it the way it's supposed to be done. We sit down at dinner the way you're supposed to sit down at dinner. You know, Oh, we are really so cute. So where do you go if you're called to a journey and there's actually nowhere to go but here? And what if you're called to a journey where here is a continually expanding awareness? There's no complete. In fact, every time we think we've gotten there, we're stuck. And we could enjoy it for a while, but we're stuck. And it's always a question of, where's the more? Where's the more? Where's the more? Where's the more? On an ego level, what is it I am blind to that I'm not aware of? Some of which is, oh, I'm glad to see that, and some of which I am horrified to see that. Oh my God. To say not only I'm part of the problem, but I'm the problem. And we're in this together. Although if you like, you could blame it on me. He's the problem. I certainly do that. Don't you ever do that to yourself? I'm the problem. Oh, I'm also the answer. But I'm not the answer for you. I'm the answer for me. And you're the answer for you. And it's one of the most difficult things to remember. Because opening to a more inclusive awareness is opening to a more connected awareness. I remember in the early days of my meditation practice, my mother said it out loud. I suspect my father thought it, and that was, you're removing yourself from people. You know, you're not engaging with people, you're sitting there and you're closing your eyes and you're being silent. This is a dangerous thing to do, and my experience was exactly the opposite. But how do you say that? I mean, I would say, I'm entering a place, I'm opening to a place without boundaries. This sensory world that we live in has everything has a boundary. I don't care where you look. There's nothing I can look at that doesn't have a boundary. A wall, whether I see that wall as the sky, whether I see that wall as a wall. I see the boundaries in each and every person. Here's my boundary. And then there's an expanding consciousness where, the boundaries get thinner. The boundaries of time, the boundaries of space, the boundaries of physicality, the boundaries of thought, the boundaries of differences, the boundaries of race, the boundaries of language, the boundaries of age, the boundaries of gender. So when each of us finds our way, and our way is unique to us, we wind up more connected to each other than we've ever been. Huh. But there's a problem. And the problem, unlike the simplicity of the Torah's description, is, boy, when we let go, things don't come together right away. Like, what we're asked to let go of is a place that we've created for ego safety. It might be a place of fear, but that is safe because we know we're afraid. It might be pain. You know, it doesn't have to be positive. It has to be predictable. So just let go of all that to a place that I will show you. So that's when gratitude is required. I'm grateful for the call. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful for the unknowing. I'm grateful for the discomfort. I'm grateful for the anguish. I'm grateful for what at first looks like a separation. Because when I let go, I'm letting go of what appeared to connect me to others, what appeared to connect me to my place, to my family, to my incarnation. So it looks like one thing, and it's actually a whole other thing that's happening. It's one of the problems of friendship. Because friends are friends because they like us the way we are. Mm-hmm. Really, it's a very peculiar paradox. And if we start changing, it becomes a threat to friendship. It becomes a threat to relationships. It's like, well, wait a minute. That's not what you said. That's not what you thought. That's not how you acted. Wait a minute. And can we be a community that hears a Lech Lecha and recognizes it in each other and supports it and say, yes, go for it. And yeah, there's going to be bumps. Yeah, you're going to enter into the unknown, because what's going to ultimately happen is you're going to create a new land. You're going to create a new incarnational definition, and you're going to create a new familial identity. May or may not have to do with actual, blood family, but you'll constellate around friends. Could be the same, could be different, until the next Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha. And what if we're opening all the time? What if the call is, I'm showing you a land that is expanding every moment? I mean, isn't that what meditation is? Or isn't? But I think that's the function. Isn't that what silence is? No boundaries, no separation, only one silence. So Stephen has a song that he was going to teach us called Grateful.
You have a part. It's really simple. It just goes like this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sing with me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just keep singing that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am grateful. 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 I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful. I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. One more time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And I invite you to take that thank you inside. And if you feel comfortable, to allow your eyes to close. And just find that voice somewhere inside, that behind all the thoughts, behind all the sensations, is simply so gently, so clearly saying thank you, thank you. Whatever thought comes up, thank you, thank you. Whatever yearning comes up, thank you, thank you. Whatever fear comes up, thank you, thank you. Whatever rises, thank you, thank you, thank you. Whatever happens in the body, in this moment, thank you, thank you. And behind all those thoughts, behind all the sensations, behind all the feelings, following that thank you into the opening of a deeper space, the honoring of a deeper place, an expansion, a door that opens, that you might walk through, a gate that just swings open. Every boundary opens. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And every breath is an inhaling of what is and what has been, and every exhaling a release of what has been, an allowing of what is, until with each and every breath, doors opening, doors opening, doors opening. And somewhere behind the thank you is the one grateful. It's the I. It's the I am grateful. I am opening. I am naturally opening to the greater fullness of my being. I am opening beyond current definitions. I am opening beyond current conditionings. I am opening beyond current ideas. I am opening beyond current plans. I am opening. I am grateful. I am opening. I am grateful. I am more. I am more. I am always more than I thought. I am always more than I sensed. I am always more than I felt. Lech Lecha. I open more fully to myself. I open to the unending inner journey from stuckness to freedom, from separation to connection, from fragmentation to wholeness. Grateful. I am grateful for it all. I am opening. I am releasing. I am expanding. Thank you. Thank you. I am grateful. Thank you. I am grateful.
Thank you. 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 I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's the chord. That's the chord. And that chord is just resonating within each and every one of us. Oh, it's a chord that we gift to this space, and this space gifts to us. It's a chord we seek to carry with us into our world. Thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity to open again. I'm grateful for the opportunity to let go of what I know, to discover what there is to be known. I'm grateful to let go of the identity that I've been practicing so long, to find out the who that I'm ready to walk into the world. I'm grateful to be able to open my eyes grateful to be able to open my eyes. It's like the whole universe is opening its eye and inviting us to open our eyes. So as I was driving to the ferry this morning, I was singing a song, like a melody that just was coming in my head, and I knew the melody, but I couldn't remember what the words were. Like, what song was I singing? Did it ever happen? And it turned out it was a little Hebrew song that's taken from the words, the words appear in a tractate, in a portion of the Mishnah, a literature written after the Bible, written down finally around the year 200. It's a little section called Pirkei Avot, which I always translated, as most people do, ethics of the fathers or passages of the fathers. And one of the things I've learned from one of my teachers named Tova, who's taught me a lot about how male consciousness has disempowered women. You know, Hebrew's one of those languages that if you do plural, because it doesn't have a neuter, so if you do plural, the plural's going to be masculine, whether there's men and women or just men. It's like Spanish, it's like a lot of languages. So the Pirkei Avot, which I had always translated ethics of the fathers, actually literally means ethics of men and women, ethics of the fathers and mothers. I don't know how it is, but you know, for somebody who's been, like me, who's been doing this for years and years and years, to suddenly go, oh my God, it rocks me.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me says thank you. You know, that there's somebody who can see that. And part of me goes, ugh. So in ethics of the fathers and mothers, Pirkei Avot, there's a statement that says, Al shlosha devarim, on three things ha'olam omed, on three things the world stands. Without those three things, the world cannot endure. Al ha-Torah, literally on the Torah. Al ha-Avodah, which in its narrowest sense means on prayer, service. And on Gemilut Chasadim, and on acts of loving kindness. And I realized the reason why I found myself singing it, you know, because there's things that, there's somebody in here that knows way more than I know. It was really a response to Lech Lecha, to get out of your country and get out of your incarnation idea and get out of your father and mother's house. Because the first response is teaching. It's learning. It's like, how much of the time do we spend learning? Really. I was reading somewhere online about Bill Gates and several others who dedicate 5 hours a week to reading. And Gates apparently takes a 2-week reading vacation every year. He wants to read a book every week. think he's got a lot of other things to do, you know. But how much time am I spending expanding? How much time am I spending studying? I mean that literally. And how does that expand me? And avodah is spiritual practice. Like, sorry, how much time am I spending in spiritual practice? You know, study is expanding the mind. Spiritual practice is expanding the self. When I get into real trouble, I try to remember the principle of tithing. Tithing is usually used for money. I use it for time. So I want to tithe a minimum of 10% every hour to spiritual practice. That's usually not enough. But that's 6 minutes on the hour. That's 12 minutes every 2 hours. That's 20, you know. It's like, how much time am I willing to dedicate to avodah, to spiritual practice? And then gemilut chasadim, acts of kindness. Acts of kindness. Because without acts of kindness, spirituality and learning are empty.
Amen.
Empty. Any spirituality that doesn't result, that doesn't support, that doesn't express in compassionate action in the world is fake.
Mm-hmm.
Period. So Lech Lecha for me this year is a recommitment to study and a recommitment to spiritual practice and a recommitment to just walking more kindly. It's not always easy. That question that is addressed to each and every one of us, how can I make things better here? How can I make things better here? So when we were talking about gratitude and this morning's experience, the first song that Stephen suggested is a song we're going to share together. And the interesting thing is the song came to be identified with a particular singer, and you're going to know immediately when you see the words why, who, and you'll also know that this particular singer did not have an easy time of it. This particular singer entered the world, the musical world, at a time of incredible discrimination. And yet, this is the song that he became famous for.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day and the dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
And please rise as you are able. You know, it's actually a Shabbat song. It's just irrational. Irrational gratitude. Just opening our hearts. What a wonderful world. You see, because it's not just what we see, it's just the incredible gift of being able to see. It's not just what we hear, it's the incredible gift of being able to hear. It's not just what we touch, it's the incredible gift of being able to touch. It's not just what we taste in the moment, it's the incredible gift of being able to taste. Oh, it's not even what we happen to be thinking at any given moment, it's the incredible gift of being able to think. It's the incredible gift of being able to say thank you. Thank you. It's the incredible gift of being able to say thank you for the opportunity to get on with my journey, even though, especially since I can't know what it's going to be. But I want to find out. And I want to walk with others who are willing to step out of the ordinary and share what we are finding with each other. And do the best we can to strike the chord of gratitude that can be picked up by all others to remember. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You know, at the end of our time, I like to encourage people to kind of bunch together so you can feel this intentional community that comes together. Try these words.
We are all just walking each other home. 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 We are all just walking each other home.
The fact, of course, is that we're always home. And home is a bigger place, a bigger space. Home is an expansive, inclusive reality. We are thanking each other home. We are loving each other home. We are appreciating each other home. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. A few minutes before we started today, we thought we'd be almost alone.
We were going to do a little circle, you know, like maybe 6 or 7 people.
We're
I'm not
gonna
kidding,
sing-
like 5 minutes to 11, you guys.
I told Maple, who was doing the sound and the streaming, I don't think you should stream this one. Like, it'd be kind of embarrassing to. There's 3 people here, 3 in seats and 3 up here.
We were going to sing All By Myself. We were going to do that song.
Which is all by saying, I really mean it when I say, I'm so I'm so grateful you're here. And I'm grateful to be on this journey where we have the opportunity to support each other as we travel from strength to strength, from love to love, and from life to life. Shabbat shalom, everybody.